Hello, hello. Welcome. Doug Cunnington here. We're back for the live Q&A. I am in a new location. If it's your first time here, thanks for joining in. And you can say hello in the chat. The sound seems to be working, but let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I am the founder of Niche Site Project. So if you haven't been there, check out nichesiteproject.com. You can learn about affiliate marketing and stuff like that. If you do say hello in the chat or even in the comments later, it's greatly appreciated. In fact, if you're in the chat, I'll give you a shout out like, hi, everyone. That's the person's name. And then we have Duke and Marty, two people, big friends of the channel here and of the podcast. I have a podcast called The Doug Show. Go to doug.show. There's a link in the description. Before we get moving too much, I see we have Justin is asking a question too. So I will get to that shortly. We have Linus is on too. That's Echo. And I actually have it in my notes to get in touch with you, Linus, after our discussion a few weeks back. And it's been a blur. I'll tell you, it's been a blur over the past 6 weeks or so because I've been moving and traveling and packing up, selling a house, and then just doing a lot of driving. I actually drove from Bozeman to the Boulder area where I'm located now, like to and from, I think like four times. 3. It's a lot because it's about 10-ish hours or so. So it's a good drive, though. I'll tell you, it's a beautiful drive. There's mountains like all around you as you're leaving Montana. And the last day that I left, when I was leaving town, leaving Bozeman, it was a little sad, a little bit sad to leave town. It was only like 4 years ago when we first drove in, and we were like, we don't know if we like it here, stuff like that. And then we really liked it. And then we moved there and bought a place, and then we moved away. So it was a little sad to leave, but that day it was the 16th. So that must've been Saturday, 100% like clear day. It was like the clearest day that I remember in Montana. I was on 90, if people are familiar with the area, which not many of you are, but if you're on 90, you drive past some really awesome mountain range. So there's Ahrefs, which I think is spelled Ahrefs, but that is sort of down Paradise Valley, Highway 89. And then you got the crazy mountains to your left if you're heading east on 90. And that's to the north. And usually there's like a little cloud cover on the crazies. A lot of times you can't see the peaks, but it was beautiful. And then looking down south to the Beartooths, like I can't remember the last time you could see them clearly, and it was like 100% clear. You could see individual peaks. Absolutely amazing. So, but this session is about affiliate marketing. However, we kind of meander a little bit. Honestly, it takes a little while for people to hop on, and I haven't been doing these Q&As for the last few months. 1, I was busy. 2, I just needed a break. And 3, it's always good to do 3s. I think I got a little bored doing that. So I needed to restructure them, but I was so busy, I didn't even have time to worry about it or think about it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to table it for now and come back to it when I'm ready. So thanks everyone for being patient. So Justin Mills has a question here, and this is it. So Google updated recently, and I made a new blog post, submitted it to my Google console, and it shows 0 queries. Does that mean my site has 0 keywords? No, it doesn't. Justin, there's a few, I won't be able to answer it completely, but basically, it sounds like you are checking your console for, it's unclear what you're checking. So I'll just make some assumptions. Actually, maybe your site doesn't rank for any keywords, or maybe you were just looking at that specific new blog post. It's not clear which one, but give it some time. chances are, number one, your site is probably young. And number two, it sounds like maybe you don't have a ton of content. So keep publishing more stuff, give it a few weeks and hop back over there and take a look. I'm doing pretty well, everyone. Thanks for the well wishes. Marty says, I hope you're enjoying your new place. Linus and hi, everyone is asking or like, how's it going? Things are good. It's been a little hectic unpacking, but I think we're like 80% done. My in-laws are joining up with us here in about a week, which is a little bit sooner than I would have, invited them over. I'll put it that way. They don't watch this, so I can say stuff like that. But yeah, they're coming over in like 1 week, and I think I will have been here, right at under 2 weeks. It will be under 2 weeks when they get here, for me living here. So most everything is unpacked and in its place, except the guest bedroom. So we'll have to get that in order. And it's just sort of been a staging area. And we're like, we got to get the bedroom done. We got to get the, closets, the kitchen, and the, laundry room and all the other stuff that we need to function going. So yeah. All right. If you, are enjoying the video, please hit the like button. I would appreciate it. Duke mentions, do I have any experience with Udemy? Just a tiny bit. So I had one course that I put out there. I partnered with someone, and it kind of got me like looking at courses again. So I initially, when I started online, I had like a small info product that I sold maybe for like a year and a half or so, and then stopped. And then years later, I signed up, or my acquaintance, I don't talk to him often anymore, but my acquaintance, he was like, hey, do you want to partner on like a Udemy course? Like this guy had like, I don't know, at the time, like 20 or 25 courses. And he just like dove in. He would teach courses that he didn't really know much about, like the specific, like he would go and research and put together a course on something that he didn't know like anything about beforehand, which isn't necessarily like invalid, but a course is definitely more powerful if you have like some case studies that you've done. It's just a little bit more, I mean, you could answer questions with a little more authority. Now, at the same time, if you have a case study and it's like an N of 1, or maybe even 2, maybe you've done it twice, even then it doesn't mean like you have all the answers or anything like that. So anyway, that is generally my experience with Udemy. I got away from it because the pricing was weird. And I think even like to this day, they've like restructured, I haven't looked in a long time, Duke, but I think they restructured the pricing so that you have less control on what you can sell courses for. But often they have like these mega sales where people can generally, I think this is the case. I haven't looked in a long time, but you can basically buy any course for like $10. Like whenever they're running the sale, you can buy any course. If it's not $10, it's still like way less than what you can sell if you're hosting it yourself. Now, I think, there's other platforms. There's plenty of other platforms out there. And I think I've seen a lot of good stuff with Teachable. And I think if I was developing a new course, I would probably host it there. In fact, I was thinking about migrating some of my courses over to Teachable because I'm having some issues with the whole technology stack that I'm dealing with. And it works mostly, but it's really hard to get different teams of like plugin developers to work together to solve the problem. So yeah, it's a little kind of a pain. Wayne, what's going on? We have Cheeron on as well. Thanks all the people in blue there. Those are the moderators. So really appreciate you guys. Yeah, I think it's all guys, no gals in the moderator crew, but appreciate it. Sigeen, first time live. great. And Alwyn is talking about the Google March core update. Yeah, I heard some rumblings about that. Honestly, I don't stay super up to date. Luckily, I haven't had any major impacts other than seems to be a little bit more traffic in the last week here. So maybe I was impacted. I'm not really sure, but we'll see how it goes. Before I get down to more of the questions, I'm just taking a quick look. Yeah, lots of chatter in there. So, couple things coming up here pretty soon. Number one, I'm doing some work with keyword cannibalization. So, if people aren't familiar, sometimes you will have a post that is ranking for a term that you don't intend for it to rank. And in fact, you may want another post to rank for that term instead. Hopefully you followed that, but essentially like Google is ranking a page for something that you didn't intend it to be ranked for, or post, whatever, piece of content. So over time, like when you publish a lot of content, for example, it may be hard to keep that under control and have a good understanding of like what's ranking where, and you kind of need to let things settle out. So kind of going back to what Justin was asking about, like you can't make any assumptions based on like a short amount of time. Anyway, I've gone back and looked at a few sites, and I was like, there's so much keyword cannibalization going on. So I'm going back and looking at, the 2 or 3 pieces of content that may be, misplaced. And what happens a lot of times is maybe you have 2 pieces of content that are both ranking, say positions 7 and 10. So they're both on the first page, but they're not ranking well. Sometimes if you combine the content and consolidate the content, improve it, maybe rewrite the title, do a 301 redirect. Hopefully everyone followed all that. What might happen is you'll, instead of having 2 posts ranking like at the bottom of the first page, maybe you'll have the 1 post, the consolidated post, ranking number, in the top, right? Hopefully you go to like number 1, but if you're much higher up than at the bottom of page 1, you'll probably get more traffic. So I did sort of a cursory bit of consolidation. Not all were home runs, but a couple of them, like the traffic went up like, 80% or something like that. So that'll be something interesting to share in the future. The other thing is, this is all in the content improvement space, is I'm working with a team to analyze some of my content using a tool called Market Muse, which some of you are familiar with. And basically they have a look at your I guess organic keywords that you're ranking for, and then they'll have a few suggestions like, oh, it looks like low hanging fruit if we go and optimize some of this content a little bit using this sophisticated tool, Market Muse, which is very expensive. It's too expensive for an individual. It's really for a content agency or like some sort of publication or something. So they will have a look at your content, and they will go and they're calling it upgrading. So they're going to upgrade the content, which could be confused with a content upgrade. So maybe I should let them know about that. But anyway, I'm working with a team on that, and hopefully I'll be able to share some information. Actually, I know I'll be able to share some content and information on that, case studies. I'm having a number of posts like updated and improved, and I'm sure they're not all going to be home runs, but I'm pretty sure it'll be like a good investment at the end of the day. So I can tell you more about that, and feel free, people, to speculate about the core update. All right, online education, what's going on? Aid, Hindoko from Indonesia, what's going on? Amir says, please explain the content structure for affiliate niche site, please. So I usually just publish everything as a post and then interlink it. So you can, if you're into it, you can, come up with a site architecture and have like more intentionality about what you're trying to, form there. Or you can just keep it simple and publish everything as a post. That's what I do. It's easier. Dwayne, what's up? Adrian, my man, what is happening? We got the whole crew. We got Adrian and Marty and Duke and Jaron Furhan also. Great. Some people are asking about the Google update. I don't keep up. I usually wait until this happens, right? I'll have a number of people ask me about something, and then I know, hey, I need to go do a little research. My hunch is, without knowing shit about it at all, I bet it's something about authority, having some credibility on your site. I bet there's some backlink action going on too, and the visitor intent and what they're really looking for. Chances are it's related to those. Really strong chance on that without knowing anything. That's just kind of where, that's the trend that we've been seeing. So Product Advices says, how do I get started developing my own product? Well, I don't know anything about that, but I would suggest you take a look at Smart Passive Income. I'm not into products much, by the way. So I would go take a look at Smart Passive Income. Pat Flynn, and I think his one of his friends, one of his colleagues, Caleb Wojcik, and him, they developed a physical product, like a selfie like vlogging tripod situation, and I think they documented it pretty well. So I suggest you take a look at the blog Smart Passive Income, look for the product stuff, check out the podcast, and also check out his YouTube channel. I think they probably cover it better, and they have actually done it. So I have no idea how to actually develop your own product, but I would say it'll be a journey, and you'll learn a lot. Hi, everyone says, how many word article do you write for KGR term? I would suggest 1,000 words at a minimum, and as much as you need, just in general. Carl, what's going on? And Furhan, I see. Raul, how's it going? And Marty gives a good suggestion to product advices that you should check out Reddit and e-commerce sites. So yeah, I like that. All right. And Adrian says, how many students are in here? Yeah, how many 5-figure niche site students? There's quite a few. Aid says, can I join Amazon affiliate from Indonesia? I believe so, but I'm not really sure. I'll be honest with you. I operate out of the US, so everything's a little bit easier for me across the board. And I think you can. I think I've had a few students out of Indonesia. I think you could figure out how to get paid, maybe through Payoneer or some other thing. But if you Google it, I'm pretty sure you could find someone who has done it or has struggled through trying to figure it out and then wasn't able to. But I think you can. And Carl, good to have you on. Okay, and Duke says you're thinking of adding Udemy's affiliate program to one of your sites. Definitely worth a try. And Marty mentions that you tried it, but were denied on your site, which seems crazy because I know you have really good content on your site. Lots of good activity in the chat here, and I appreciate that. A lot of knowledgeable people. And I think it's good because one thing that was tough for me, I try to go through everything in the chat, which I will continue to try to do, but we have such a great community in the moderators there that sometimes you know more than me. Actually, everyone knows more than me in some area. And I was going to say, like, you guys and gals can answer the questions that come through to give me a little more space to talk about random stuff. Like when the movers move, like they unloaded stuff, right? We were lucky enough to work with movers this time. And they set up the bed, which was fine. And it's like, pretty straightforward. There's a headboard, a footboard, I guess you call it, the rails, and some slats. Things screw into each other. Generally, the rails hold the slats, and then the slats, they're screwed in as well. So everything's kind of tightened down, right? However, like we slept on the bed like the first night, and like I toss and turn a little bit. So like kind of rolled over. I do that like 50 times a night, right? So I'm constantly like moving around and stuff. If I'd move my finger, if I move my pinky finger like an inch, the bed would squeak. And I'm like, what is going on? It was maddening. So I was like trying not to move like all through the night, which may be a good thing. That's probably a good quality, to just lay there and don't move. But just kept squeaking, and I was like trying to scoot some stuff around, and I Googled it, and some suggestions were to like lubricate any of the touch points. So any kind of screw areas, anywhere where wood touches other wood, or metal touches wood, or anything touches, you basically, you put a little wax. It's like paraffin wax or beeswax could solve the problem. You don't want to use like WD-40, right? Not that. Don't use like olive oil or butter. You don't want to put like a bacon grease in there or anything like that. Even though it smells good when you're putting it down, it's not going to be a good thing in the future. It'll smell nice, of course. But anyway, it was squeaking. And I was like, what is going on here? Like I checked a couple of the screws and then didn't solve it. So a few days go by and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fix this. This is bananas. So I, take off the mattress, the box spring, take apart everything, wax things up, and then put it back together. And then I find that actually it was just one of the corners on the footboard, which that's not where it was squeaking. It was squeaking at the headboard area. So the footboard area had a little play. It was a little loose. So I tightened those down as well, put it all back together. Last night, good to go. We ended up with a squeak-free bed. Feels solid. Feels really solid. So anyway, thanks for answering the questions in the chat to give me some time to talk about a squeaky bed. By the way, everyone, if you haven't checked out the podcast, highly encourage you to check it out. Adrian's on, Marty's on, Duke's on, Evan is on as well. And it's Doug.show. I think there's a link in the description most likely, but if when you think of it later, check out the podcast. Lots of good interviews. And the cool thing is you can hear an interview from, for example, from Marty and Duke from 6-8 months ago. And then you hear the update a few shows later. So going back and getting updates from folks as well. And so you can hear how things are progressing, things that they tried, they worked, they didn't work, that sort of thing. All right. And Adrian says to add stars before the questions. That's a good idea. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. And maybe if I keep doing these, I can get a producer for me to help out, to actually like field the questions, and then I don't have to watch the chat as much. Can move a little faster a little bit. So Siyeen says, how long does it take for a KGR to finally stabilize at a point? You showed up on the first page and then it dropped to the third, sixth, or even the ninth page. Basically, it'll stabilize when it's ready. So there's no actual like answer to that question. So it potentially can stabilize within 6 to 8 weeks or so, a couple months. A lot of times it can continue to rise over the course of 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. So then if you look out far enough, what you may see if you don't touch your site is that it will drop in ranking a little bit as competitors come up, as it goes out of date, as it's less fresh. So it's kind of a interesting trajectory. So it's hard to say, but usually within a couple months you'll have some stability on where it's probably going to land. Hi, everyone asks, how much do I charge for one-on-one coaching? Currently, it is $247. $247. If you go to nichesiteproject.com/hire-me, I don't talk about that as much as I should, but yeah, I do one-on-one coaching. And occasionally I'll have to figure out how to package this up, but sometimes people don't actually want to have a one-on-one. They just want me to audit their site, and then I can record a video where I audit their site, maybe pull some data for you, and then send it over and give you some suggestions. And then you can, it's shared with you privately. You can do whatever you want with it. All right. Next, we have Dana. What's going on? You catch a live, you're catching a live stream for the first time. Fantastic. Echo says traffic's down 1.2K a month. You're 8 months in. It's a bit discouraging, but you keep at it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Exactly. Okay, Raul says, how do you write an affiliate article and how do you hire writers? So Raul, I suggest you go to the link in the description. It's nichesiteproject.com/FAQ, where I answer both of those questions. But quickly, I can tell you for an affiliate article, I suggest you follow the perfect Amazon review format, which if you Google that, you should find my site. And it's a modular template that you can use. In fact, you can download it or send the link to the writer that you hire. You do whatever you want with it. I don't care. Except copy it. You can't copy it and say it's yours. But hiring writers, you can use an agency like Content Refined. You can use another agency I know of is the Human Proof Designs folks. So big difference in pricing. And I think you'll probably have a different, sort of experience with both of them. But, you got to work within your budget. Further, I usually go to Upwork to hire writers. That's kind of my place to go. And if you go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button on that page, enter your name and email address. I'll send you all the templates that I use, including the job listing. I think there's a style guide in there too. So you can use all that stuff if you want. You just have to sign up for the email list. So Ian says, just a comment. Amir says, how any types of keywords we make on an affiliate site, like forum, PBNs, guest post. I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. Maybe you're saying how many types of backlinks we make on. Actually, I'm not really sure. You can do whatever you'd like, really. There's no one. Actually, that's why it's hard. You can do anything you want. No one's telling you what to do. You're literally the boss, and you can make the decisions. I think Marty mentions that I generally discourage PBNs, but some people love them. And if you are a person who likes them, exercise caution. There's more risk, but everybody has a different risk tolerance, and I respect that. Scene says, can KGRs rank without backlinks? Yes, indeed they can. All right. And again, thanks for the moderators. And okay. We got some good info here somewhere. All right. Duke says the newest update seems to be about being a real business instead of a fly-by-night website, real address, phone number, GMB listing, real emails instead of a contact form, a business about, etc. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, and Alex from WP Eagle is on. If you haven't checked out WP Eagle, which if you're here, I'd be surprised if you don't know Alex. Need to catch up with you soon, buddy, now that I'm moved in. Let's see. And the SEO Fight Club did a program on the latest update yesterday. That's from Duke, so people can check that out. Hi, everyone says, how do you decide how many words are enough for a KGR term? Usually I'll just operate at 1,000 at a minimum and then see what happens. And then if I see that it's getting traction, I'll add more content. Shizor, what's up? And Duke says you start with 1,000 words. Yep. So that's a good starting point, and then you can go from there. There's no perfect number of words, so there's no real point. There's no value in trying to figure out like the right number of words. Danny, what's going on? You made it to a live video. Yeah, I'm going to try and do more of these. Again, try and mix it up a little bit. I'll have to figure out exactly what I want to do. Back in the day, I was doing a live stream on a Wednesday on a topic of my choice, which eventually it degraded to questions that were unrelated to the topic. So I'll have to figure out how to manage that. But I kind of like doing that. It's a good way to, flesh out some ideas. And then on Fridays, I would do these random Q&As where they would potentially go on for, up to 2 hours, which at that point I was getting tired and hungry, that sort of thing. But I think there's a good place for these. It is nice to have the community, and potentially, like, I'd love them to be a little bigger. Like, I think at the height, we're averaging maybe like 40 to 50 people, like consistently for the weekly ones, which is cool. It'd be cool if it was like just a tad bigger. So it may be interesting to figure out how to, make it more engaging, more interesting for people to actually tune in. We go down so deep into a rabbit hole sometimes that we lose people. So I'll have to figure out a way to get around that. One way, I thought about doing some just outside. I'm not sure if I'm really going to be able to turn this laptop around without knocking everything down here, but like our view here, like we're in suburbia, USA, but our view here is pretty good. Like overall, yeah, that's not going to work. All right, I'll have to show you some other time. But anyway, I thought about going down, taking the laptop like right down there where I can still get good Wi-Fi signal, and just basically behind me, there must be 100 plus acres. I don't know how big it is. There's a lot of like grassland, farmland over there. So I think it could be, pretty cool just to change up the location. Oh, additionally, there's a space near the pool and the stuff that there's just like outdoor sitting areas that they have Wi-Fi in the clubhouse, and I could totally sit down there and do a live stream down there. So I may check that out. And I don't think it'll be too noisy or anything. It's not like right by a highway or anything like that. All right. Someone asked about an EMD. Yeah, I don't think a EMD is necessarily bad, but it can limit you to like what you're trying to do. Amp is asking about an ad network, Ezoic, you mentioned Ezoic. I know of another one that I've done. Actually, there's a video that it's media.net. Media.net, they're good folks over there too. Tech Spondon says you're from Bangladesh, you want to start a site. According to KGR, you research 50 plus keywords. Now Pleasure suggesting something about content writing for a beginner. I think I kind of answered that before, but maybe you weren't on and I'm so far behind in the chat. But go to the FAQ section on Niche Site Project and you'll get some information about content. All right, as I'm looking through the stuff here. Hi, everyone says, what is my hiring process for writers? So I post the job, I let it sit on Upwork, for a day or two till I have about 20 replies in there, something like that. Then I'll turn it off. And then I sort through them, I'll look at them, and then I'll hire, let's say I want to hire 4 writers to work with me consistently. I'll give trial jobs to about 8 people. And then I will just keep the best ones. Some people are going to flake out. Some people are going to just not have the quality. Some people are going to ask too many questions. And then you'll probably, if you hire 8 for a trial job, you'll probably end up with 4 good ones. Occasionally, you're going to end up with all great ones. And then you could, just tell the people, hey, it worked out a little differently. I want to keep you on the list. Maybe I'll hire you in the future. So that's generally what I do. Sayin talks about launching a new site based on my methods. Excellent. Let me know how it goes. Okay, and Sayin says your current site was doing 50 unique visitors a day, and then after doing KGR content, it went to 150 in 2 months. All right, and as we are scrolling down, I'm kind of making my way. I wish the chat, like it jumps around on my end here, and it's hard to find where I'm at. So, and I know people are coming and going, so I'll just mention again the Doug Show podcast, just doug.show. That's the URL. Got a nice short URL, doug.show. So you can go check it out there, or it's on, any of the major podcast not marketplaces, but directories there. Just trying. Trying to find here. Okay, Matthew says you're getting 1,600 page views a month, and you've added affiliate links, and you're trying to link back to them. You've earned $1.70 from Amazon. Is this normal for the page views? So 1,600 per month. So you're getting 50 per day, and you've earned $1.70. I would say that's low, but you don't have enough data yet. So $1.70 sounds low to me, but if you're only getting, 50 visitors a day, that's kind of not enough to make a decision from. But I would expect that you potentially, would be making more than that. However, it all depends on the kind of content you have on your site. So if you have content on your site that is not, not for making money, which I just don't know what's on your site. So let's say you have like 80% informational content and you only have 8 articles, 10 articles on your site, and maybe you only have 2 articles that have affiliate links, then yeah, maybe that makes perfect sense. I have no idea. And hi, everyone says, how do you outsource backlinking stuffs? So I usually try to train my own folks in the area of SEO because I don't know where other people learned their SEO stuff. So I would say you hire someone the same way. You have to train them, you have to create job aids and take them step by step. That's how I would suggest it. So it's a tough question to answer, but that's the same way you would hire anyone for anything. If you're trying to find someone who's already skilled, then you're going to pay more for that, which is fine if you have the budget. And then you just have to trust that they are experts and they know what they are doing and they're not going to screw up. Dana says, what's going on, Dana? Thanks for joining up. I've had a blog about a subject you're passionate about, $70 per year. Before finding me, you realized your niche was too competitive, so you're struggling a bit finding KGR. Should you dump it? Not necessarily. I would say there may be an area, and I think Marty is saying this, you would get someone to give a second opinion before moving on. You probably need another perspective. Yes, that I agree with that. It's hard to tell, especially if you're passionate about it. You may be a little too close and may not see the opportunities that are right there. Further, sometimes just because it's competitive and you can't find many KGRs, it doesn't mean it's not a good idea. Adrian says, how long does it take a content editor to edit a post like best 5 products for? Is it more than 3 hours? Adrian, it depends on how long the content is. So let's assume, actually, generally, no, it's not going to be more than 3 hours. If it's more than 3 hours, then it would be very long. So just in general, if it was maybe 5,000 words, maybe it takes 3 hours to do that. But generally, I would say that's a long time. But it depends on the length. So depends on the length overall. All right, scrolling down. Adrian says, any tips on creating an SOP for content editors? I would say, do it yourself and then document every step that you do a few times. So document it the first time around and then, test it out and, try and follow, see if you need to add anything the next time you do it. Take screenshots. A lot of people will tell you to do videos, but I think that's a bad idea personally. Tons of people suggest doing videos, but what happens is, let's say, for example, WordPress updates and they change a button, or your theme changes, or a plugin changes, and the button moves, functionality changes. You have to redo the video, right? So you have to now redo the video. If it's a written document with screenshots, then you could just replace the image, change the text. But redoing the whole video is kind of a pain in the butt, in my opinion. Maybe there's a way around it that I don't know about, but just generally, yeah. Then the real secret, Adrian, is to, you make your first draft and then edit it and make it better at least a couple more times. Then you hire someone to like execute the plan and do the work. And you tell them that you want their comments. You need their input. Let them, tell them to leave comments in there and to ask questions about things that aren't clear and all that stuff. Then ask for suggestions and then make those updates. And then slowly over time, you do that with everyone you hire. And then slowly over time, after you have, 5 or 6 people go through it and use it, that's the only way to test it, by the way. That is how you end up with a document that you can like give to someone fresh. Because freelancers are going to come and go. Basically, you can give it to them fresh and they will probably not have as many questions because you've already gone through that iteration. All right. And Dana says, this is jump back. She wants to get more information from someone that's more experienced, but she can't afford $250. That's why she's making an affiliate site. But I get that. And it's a lot of money. However, figure out some way, to get opinions on it, because even though it's expensive now, can you imagine, working on it for like 6 more months, not like just having no clue, like no confidence in it. And then you could have wasted a lot more than $250 in 6 months, let alone the time, right? So if you can figure that out early, that's better. Moving on. Hi, everyone says, do you focus on creating virtual team for long term? No. Or do I like keeping a writer for years, or like keep a writer for years? Not really, no. Vacations by Aruba says, 2 niche websites. Should I open 2 accounts, or do you recommend you use one? You should just use one and add another tracking code. Correct. Pan says, how do we edit the meta tags on a blog in WordPress, like the meta description and meta title? You can use something like the Yoast SEO plugin, or any SEO plugin, basically. Or Some themes have it built in, and you could just have it edited that way. Matthew says, how much do you pay for writing? Shall I go to a writing agency or freelancer? So you can go to either one. The agency is probably going to be easier to work with, but more expensive. Typically, I like to hire freelancers directly from Upwork, and I am paying somewhere about 18 bucks an hour, or not an hour, 18 hours, sorry. $18 for 1,000 words. That's what I'm trying to say. $18 for 1,000 words, give or take. If you work with an agency, it's going to be much more than that. But some agencies, like Content Refined, for example, they assign you like a PM. So you are working with a person who understands what you're trying to do, and they work with a writer. So you don't have to like do any of that. So, all right, moving on. Sheik says, I'm hitting around 3,000 page views a month, but you're struggling to monetize. Can I suggest a good source to get the knowledge about the best way of using affiliate links on a web page? A source to get knowledge. So I would go to my channel, go to the channel, like about page or whatever it is. And then there's a little search bar on the right-hand side, and search for improving conversion rate for affiliate sites. And then there's like a free training. It's about an hour long. And I talk about ways to put affiliate links on a web page. However, without knowing anything about your site, I would venture to guess that you may have the wrong kind of traffic on your site. Not sure. At that level, right? So that's 100 visitors per day. All right, you're getting about 100 unique visitors a day. I would expect that you'd be making about $100 a month right now if you have the right kind of traffic. Okay, hi everyone says, any book recommendations for hiring and training and managing people and freelancers? No, I would suggest, I think just on this 47 minute and 35 second live stream, I think I've told you enough about what you need to know to get started. And I think you should just start hiring people and then see how it goes. I think the training part could be key, but it's all about just documenting what you're doing. And you should, I mean, if you're just going to hire freelancers, then you need to know how to do it. You can't just hire someone to do some work that you don't know how to do, because you won't be able to train them. Okay, Justin says, I went for a KGR term and didn't get the keyword long tail that I wanted. It was 210 searches per month. Google gave me a shorter version that is 5,500 per month. What can I do with the 210? Justin, I would say you did awesome. Just forget about the 210 search volume if you're getting the 5,000. Who cares about the 210? Go for the 5,500. All right, so Dana says you have 3 or 4 KGR articles planned, and you'll see how it goes and save up in the meantime. Excellent. Yeah. And Adrian, I just saw the comment that you said I gave nice ideas. Thanks. I think there's something about, here's the thing. So I got this advice too, from, people are like, oh, just record a video and then send it to my VA. I think Tim Ferriss mentions that a couple times. I've heard Pat Flynn talk about it. So these folks are like, yeah, just shoot a video and send it over. But here's what happened, right? So let's say I was going to get this content editor role, outsourced. So I would start recording the video. I'm like, all right, I'm going to cover this stuff. Maybe I have an outline. Maybe I know the 5 steps that I'm going to cover. And then I start recording the video. And then I like, okay, you click new post here, and then a new window pops up, and then you go over here and you do this. And then I'm like, oh, wait a second. It's not there. Actually, it's over here. And then I was like kind of messing up as I was doing the video. It's easy to do when you have internalized like what the process is. When you've done this, thing so many times, it's hard, like you're just doing it automatically. It's a bit of a habit. So when you actually try and record the video, you're going to make mistakes, and it makes it hard to follow. And as I, was trying to shoot these short 2-minute videos, it was taking me like 2 hours to go through, because essentially I would have to like write out everything that I was going to say and then, stick to a script. Basically, that is a job aid at that point. And I was like, why am I even doing the video? And then I actually used the video a few times. And then the scenario that I specifically mentioned happened, right? A plugin was updated and buttons moved, like the layout changed, making my video useless. And I was like, oh, it'll be easy for the VA to figure it out. It's not. They don't know what you're trying to do. They've never used a tool before. They don't know like the end goal most of the time. We want them to. And maybe if we spend more time talking to them, explaining it, they'd be able to, do the problem solving. But if you're like hiring a VA to do, boring, but like not trivial either, because it's not trivial, but to do like a process oriented thing where they're unskilled and they don't know what they're doing, they're just following your directions. We can't expect them to do problem solving when things change. It's not fair. So anyway, like I said, just taking a new screenshot, it's like 10 seconds to do. And this process that I'm describing, I've done it dozens of times in my old corporate job, which is probably why I like, after trying to do the videos, I realized, hey, I've done job aids before, 50-page job aids to do a thing, and then had like teams of people use it. So that's literally why I'm strong. I'm for it. Gaurav, what's going on? Okay, let's push through here. Let's move on. By the way, if you haven't checked out the podcast, Doug.show, if you are on the go, when you're at the gym, you can listen to it, or maybe you're walking outside, or maybe sitting in traffic, you can listen to it then, anytime. Andreas says, is there a tool you can import your keywords and return the all-in title instead of doing it manually? I think there are some tools out there, but it is kind of hard to do effectively. And Pan says, how much should you pay for 1,000 words? About $18. How to hire an editor? Just go to Upwork and you can hire them and then get them, working on your stuff. Any other affiliate program that I would suggest? No. Amazon seems to be fine. You can, if you want to check out others and see if they're, monetizable as well as and effective as Amazon, you can. Walmart's out there. Yeah. Sinchin says, you're an experienced writer. You'd love to get a chance to work with me. It'd be a great learning experience. Thanks for the offer. I usually don't hire anyone. Almost never hire anyone from the audience, which is interesting because I may have to change that up. We'll see how it goes. But recently my VA moved on. So I have a couple of VAs that work with me. Not writing, not all the people are asking about writing stuff. I do have people that work with me long-term. So I have a friend helps me with like course support, 5-figure niche site support, Thais. A lot of folks in the chat have had some interaction with Thais. She's great. And my other VA who is helping me a lot on YouTube and some other areas, actually on some niche sites, she left. She's moving on to take some more coursework and stuff like that. And I'm in a spot where I'm sort of like revisiting exactly like what I need done, what my goals are for YouTube. And a few folks were asking, do I like to have a long-term team? I want to have assistants, an executive assistant, basically, that can do the problem solving. That I can talk to about bounce ideas off of, and kind of has an understanding on like what I'm trying to do generally, and I can give them the full context. So when they run into a problem, like for example, this is a great example. So YouTube is changing their creator studio area. So they had this system that they've been using for years, and they're changing it and updating it. So like part of it is analytics, but it's the whole creator studio is shifting. And like my previous VA, she knew the YouTube like ecosystem. So when things changed, she like figured out how to solve the problem or looked it up or whatever. So when a button disappeared or wasn't available in the beta version, she would know that she could do whatever she needed to at the old version. And it's like, you're going to pay more for that, but that's the sort of VA work that and sort of like problem solving that you want. However, you pay for the the flexibility that someone has. Excuse me. DNA Entertainment says, my all content keywords have low searches, 50 to 80 per KGR. Site currently have 11 articles of 1,500 words each. I would like to know, should I continue with that or should I go for big search volumes? Well, DNA Entertainment, that is totally up to you. I would ask you if it's working. If it's working, then do more of it. And if it's not working, change what you're doing. However, the big piece of the puzzle that is not mentioned is how old your site is. So I don't know. I don't know the answer. If you only have 11 articles, that's not really that many. So I would maybe at least get up to 20 and maybe pepper in a few of the larger search volumes. Like maybe 10% of your content could be, the larger search volumes, 10, 20%, something like that. But it's totally up to you. Able Blogger says, bro, can I target the keywords that Quora rank for? Yes, you can. You can target any keyword you would like to, my friend. Traffics Mania says you have 35 articles with an average word count of 2,500 words, and it's unique and written by me. Google is rejecting your AdSense application due to not enough content or scraped content. Okay, that sucks. I don't know much about AdSense. And as I'm scrolling down, all right, we are gonna have to push through here. All right, trying to get to the questions here, folks. Thanks again to all the moderators. Appreciate it. And very interesting. A lot of people are asking about the content and hiring people and all that stuff. So I think like I've done probably 6 to 10 trainings on hiring people. So if you do have questions on hiring people, they're free trainings. They're on YouTube. And then a lot of times there's going to be a link going to Niche Site Project where I go through the whole thing in the written word as well. So if I'm answering short right now, and maybe with not enough detail, it's because I've talked about it a lot before and it's out there. So I'm giving you kind of short answers. But as far as it being easy, or even, here's the thing, I give you the templates, right? I'll give you all the templates. I tell you how to do it. And you have it, like you have the pieces of the puzzle that you need. It's still going to be difficult and you're going to make mistakes. And then the people that you're working with are going to make mistakes too. Everything that we're talking about, it's a fucking mess. All right. Nothing's easy. However long you think anything's going to take, it will be, I don't know, 3 to 4 times as long. If you're creating estimates in your head, just go ahead and add like an order of magnitude to it. All right. Like it's that level, like that's how far off we are. So if you're having issues hiring people, or maybe you're having trouble finding KGR terms for your topic, or maybe like just any area of difficulty, if you're getting frustrated, that's perfectly normal. If that's happening, you're probably doing something right. You just have to keep going, like Adrian and Marty and Duke and Furhan and some of the other folks. I think I caught all the moderators, but basically everything kind of sucks a little bit. And you could choose not to work on it, right? Google's going to kick in the balls every once in a while. It just happens. Like you can either, work for someone else and not call the shots, and it's a little less stress. And you don't have to, you can, punch the clock, or you could buy in, you could work 12-hour days or whatever you want for another company. That's fine. Like you could pick the uncomfortable pieces that you want to deal with. And it turns out like you could, if you're picking what you want to do, it's usually not as bad to deal with. Even when it turns out that things are going to be more difficult or longer than you expected or whatever. So just keep that in mind. Everything has some like issues with it. So I like this sort of work that I've found my way into. It's pretty fun. I can make the decisions on my own, and good decisions, bad decisions, like you own them all. So that's the risk out there. All right. Off of the high horse here. Okay. I'm just going to jump in the chat. And see what's going on. Oh, Justin says, maybe I didn't explain my previous question well. The 5,500 search volume keyword Google gave me is more competitive than the 210. Is there anything to get the KGR term? Well, where are you ranking for each of those? And it may take time to let it settle out in the SERPs as well. Further, if you are putting the keyword phrase in the title, that's basically, in writing the content accordingly, that's all you could do. You should make sure you didn't keyword stuff it also. Teresa says, you love listening to me and you get some great tips. Cool. Thanks for listening. And DJ Marky Boy, when choosing the local search, what's the best volume totals to look at? You live in the UK. It depends on what you're targeting. So generally that's probably going to be the US. So you should select the US. Sin Chan says, is there any chance Amazon shuts down the affiliate program? They've been cutting down affiliate rates for many categories. There's a chance of anything. Amazon may not be around in a few years. Who knows? Anything can happen. I would say there's a low chance that they would completely shut down the affiliate program. I think there's a chance rates could be lowered again. But if you have traffic on your site, you can do something with it. It may not be as profitable as it was, a few years ago, early 2017, about 2 years ago. Amazon changed the commission rates from a volume based to a category based, and effectively, for most people, lower the commission rate. Effectively, that's what happened. Some rates went up for certain categories, paying up to 10%, I think, and then others went down compared to what effectively people were getting. So anyway, generally, anything can happen, but if you have traffic on your site, you should be able to work something out. There are other affiliate programs out there. Formulaic says, is it helpful to have multiple backlinks from one site versus single backlinks from multiple sites? So it depends if you're talking about overall links to your site or overall links to a single page. Generally, right? It depends on how authoritative the site is that you're getting the links from. And then if you actually have the ability to get, let's say, for example, I could get these great links. I can get multiple great links from like CNN.com, right? If that's the case, I would probably take the 2 links from CNN to like different pages on my site, versus if I can get one from CNN and then like 3 from some crappy sites that have no authority, I would take the 2 from CNN. Just, it's going to be better, right? So it's it depends on where the links are going. Andrea says, you found keywords that have 15 searches per month and 1 to 5 all in title. Does that mean you shouldn't target those keywords when we haven't done any backlinks? So it's up to you. You can do whatever you want. The formula for the KGR is a good place to start from. And if you want to test out the 0.33, that's fine. And honestly, yeah, I would go for it. With those stats, I would go for it. The thing is, the KGR gives you a good way to figure out what to start with. It's a great way to sort and prioritize. A lot of people, it's funny, I do occasionally, actually I did a promo for the Doug Show, where I did 15-minute free calls. I talked to a few of the people that are on here right now. In fact, we talked way longer than 15 minutes. It was a contest that you had to go through. But the point is, a few people mentioned like, hey, I publish some other content, not just KGR. Well, so do I. KGR is just a piece of the puzzle. KGR is just is one of the tools you can use, but you don't have to create a site with only KGR terms. I've literally never done that ever. But a lot of times, because I have talked about the KGR a bunch and tried to tell people all about it, people mistakenly think that you can only use KGR terms or something like that. So, Andreas, I would go for it. Yeah, do it. All right. Mana says, I'm choosing 50 articles with KGR 17 from 5 months ago. Now 40 articles published. You're waiting. What happened? 40 articles, all in title only. Cool. Let me know how it goes. I'm not sure if that's a question or just a series of short statements, but it sounds like you got some good momentum there. And Adrian is spreading the word to put asterisks, put stars before your question so it's easier to see. Adrian is over there looking at me, watching me struggle through the chat here. And okay, Sinshin says, how much ClickBank and other affiliate networks worth? I don't know. And I don't know if anyone knows that. think a lot of them are private companies. You can't just, say what they're worth. Can we get Amazon and other affiliate network products on the same site? Yeah, you can. You should definitely check with the affiliate programs to see what they, what kind of rules and restrictions they have. Hi, everyone says, how much out of 50 KGR articles do you consider will rank? I think you're asking how many do I think that will rank out of 50? I would say if I just had to guess without knowing anything about the content, because you could fuck it up, right? A lot of times when I hear from people that haven't gotten it to work, it's because they're keyword stuffing or doing something dumb. All right. Maybe they don't know they're doing something dumb, but when you look at it, it's like you clearly made a mistake here. Out of 50, I would say there's probably going to be about, 4 of them are going to do well, like better than you expect. They're going to rank well very quickly. They're probably going to rank for some terms that you didn't think of, and they're going to get a lot more traffic than you would expect. About 4, right? There's about 2%. And then you're going to get about 75% of them that are like, in the top 25, maybe in the top 10, a few of them in the top 10. And then there's going to be a handful of them. What did I say? 75 and then 2% or 4%, 4 or 5%. So then you get the other 20% may not rank at all. Something like that. So there's a few are going to do well. Most of them are going to do okay. And then some are not going to rank at all. And and Adrian mentions other affiliate sites having like Amazon and ClickBank together, but you have a feeling that those aren't allowed. Big brands have some privileges. That is true. Yep. Able Blogger says you see some articles are ranking for keywords that are not targeted keywords, blah, 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 50 something, something. I'm not sure what that question is. Able Blogger eventually says, can I rank for those keywords? Yeah. Anyone can rank for anything. Any site can rank for terms. It just depends on how much work and how much time and how much money you have. Hi, everyone asks, are there any interviews coming out soon on the channel? Not in the near term. I am kind of in a planning mode. I'm kind of like after the whole beginning of the year, and actually the end of last year has been like hectic. So I am in a mode where I'm like, okay, I thought I was going to be working on this stuff. Instead, I moved. So I'm in a period where I'm kind of looking at stuff, but no interviews on the horizon. However, luckily, through the support of viewers like you, and the podcast and the blogging and all the stuff that I do and the people that I know, I can actually like email a decent number of folks and they will talk to me. They'll be on the show, they'll be on the channel. Not huge people, not anything like that, but I have been able to, network with like larger people with bigger followings than me, sometimes in different areas. So, nothing coming out in the near term though. All right. And Adrian mentions this. You have 42 articles, 34 are on page 1, and they're all KGR. Nice. And Justin says, you're awesome. You're enjoyed learning from me and watching all the videos. Thanks for the support. People leave comments on videos. I think that actually helps the videos a lot. Even if you just say, hey, good video, or this video sucks, or whatever you want to say. How much does bounce rate matter in Google Analytics? I don't think a ton, and it depends on who you ask, but I don't know that it has a huge factor. I've definitely seen some of my sites where the Google Analytics report, bounce rate like 90%, and it's fine. It's fine. All right, I think we're going to wrap up. I'm getting a little hungry here. Unbiased Review says, what tool do I recommend for checking the search volume of the KGR? It doesn't really matter. Just pick a tool and use it. A lot of times, like from a free perspective, Keywords Everywhere is kind of the one I keep mentioning over time. However, a couple of the cool pieces of content I'm going to have coming out soon. I'm actually working with KW Finder over there. It's a whole suite of tools, but I'm actually working on a guest post with them. I'm going to do some demo work with them as well, put out some videos on that tool. It's been around for a while, but it's definitely more sophisticated and up to date than it was in the past. It looks awesome. Basically you could pick whatever tool, and I typically, Unbiased Reviews, I know I've seen you around a little bit, so that I have some affiliate relationships with different companies, but generally I say whatever I think. So even if I have an affiliate relationship, for example, like with Longtail Pro, I got started using Longtail Pro. It's fine for search volumes and stuff, but I stopped using it for a long time because, well, they've now moved to a cloud version, but they had like a desktop version, right? And every time I pulled it up, it would freeze up and I would need to do an update. Well, Longtail Pro now is a cloud version. It's a little bit better than it was in the past. But the, keyword competitiveness, the KC number there, not real valuable anymore. Not very accurate anymore, in my opinion. Now, they kind of locked themselves into sort of a range that was acceptable. And I don't think it's very valuable anymore, the KC number. But as far as the search volume, sure, Longtail Pro would be fine also. So basically, it's pretty straightforward to get the search volumes from various tools. So just pick one that you like. Pick a tool that you like. Maybe it's the one you already have, and just use that one. And hi, everyone. Says you're really enjoying the podcast. Really appreciate it. I'm probably, like, one thing that I am doing is I'll probably be branching out into different areas, right? So if you listen to the podcast, I interviewed a few digital nomads that were outside the normal demographic. When I look at my stats here on YouTube, anywhere I can actually get some stats, I think actually, if you're female and you're in the chat, say hello. All right. If you're a lurker or whatever, say hello. If you're a female, say, hey, I'm a female. Basically, I think I'm at like 95% male, something like that, as far as the listeners and viewers and all that stuff. So I should probably lean into that and just, that's just the way it is, But I interviewed female, like, digital nomad entrepreneurs because I find it interesting. I found it interesting. So anyway, just I'm trying to do other stuff and maybe talk to like financial independence, like influencers and stuff like that, because it's all like people are interested in side hustles and making more money. I go so deep into this area of affiliate marketing and so detailed that it's like it's hard to stick with it. It's hard to stick with it. So the more general topics, something I'm looking at. But thank you. Hi, everyone, about the podcast. All right. We're going to start wrapping it up here. I'm just going to try and get through here. And yeah, this chat is a mess here. Thanks again, all the moderators here. Those are the guys in blue there. And oh yeah, Adrian says, if I answered your question, you should hit the like button. So much appreciated. And and Pan says, for changing the theme, do you have to delete the old theme first or just install the new one over the old one? Generally, you'll want to put the new one on and then activate it. Can't really delete the old one until you put the new one on. And depending on what you have going on with your old theme and your new theme, expect it to be a mess. I'm actually working through that. That's actually, I'm going to be hiring a developer to help me migrate. I'm working within the same theme, but it's like a skin, they call it in thesis. So there's like some short codes and there's going to be some artifacts. Really, it's like debris on the site where the migration is not going to be super clean. So I'm going to have I could, work on it on my own, or I could find someone who will be able to potentially do some database work to search for every instance of one of these short codes and then log it into a spreadsheet where either, I can hire someone to go in and fix those areas, which is probably what I'm going to do, or, fix it myself, which is probably not what I'm going to do. Oh, another thing I just remembered, I'm experimenting with a VA company. It's an on-demand VA company to do tasks. So I'm actually testing them out this week to do some what I'll call light SEO work. But once I'm gonna reward the people that either hopped on the tail end like Steve or stuck around this whole time, to have this ad hoc VA, like you could send a text or send an email or on Skype and create a task for someone. And it's like general VA stuff, right? So unskilled, they could work a computer, but I could tell them, hey, schedule me an appointment at the DMV at, in the morning next week. And if there's no openings in the morning, then make it in the afternoon the next day. All right. So you could tell them to schedule stuff. I could tell them to book flights, book a hotel. I could tell them to order food for me or whatever. But the point is I'm having them do some light SEO work for me. And at that point, once I have like the job aid, I potentially, right, I'm going to be an affiliate for the company. But if you sign up via my affiliate link, then potentially, right, I can give you the job aid that I use for that specific company that I've already, battle tested with them. So hopefully there won't be questions. But that's a great way, for me to, number one, it's all the stuff that I'm describing. It's work to develop this stuff. And I spent, years getting better at creating a job aid, hiring people, and blah, blah, blah. And if I could make it easy for you to get a VA that can execute a very specific thing, it's very task oriented. There's not a lot of flexibility. Like just initially, all the stuff I was just describing about it being harder, I was like, all right, I'm just going to send it over. And there were little hiccups along the way, even before they got started working on it. So I'm figuring that stuff out initially before you even get started. So anyway, that's out there. I was excited about that because I've been dragging my feet on it for a while. All right. Let's see. All right. Hi, everyone. Oh, this is an interesting question. Hard one to answer. How much do you think should be enough budget to create a site where you can make $1,000 a month if you outsourced everything? That's a very hard question to answer. If I just had to, without like writing stuff down on paper and like really thinking about it too deeply, I would say I'll think about it a little harder. So $200, maybe $200 for getting set up. And then let's say you're going to put 50 articles on there. So 50 posts, it's about $20, 1,000. I would say you potentially, if you put aside, say 3 to, like I said about estimates before, we underestimate quite a bit. So I'm going to say 3 to 7,500. You could probably pull it off, and you don't need all of it at once. You probably only need, say, $1,000 per month. You could You could space it out like that, $1,000 per month, maybe a little less the first month, and then ramp it up to more. And it may take, it may take a year to hit that point. But I think it's possible. And then when you think about it, right, the value of a site like that would be in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. And that's pretty good turnaround right there. So if you could invest under 10,000 and then sell it for 2 to 3 times that, 20 to 30,000, it's a good return. It's a good return. But you have to do everything right along the way. All right. Okay. I think we made it through. Okay. Able Blogger. Last question, I think. Oh, there's a couple more popping in, but we'll get into it. You bought a Facebook auto poster plugin, and I post through that. I get tons of visitors, but when I pause that plugin, you get no visitors. Are those visitors a true one or something wrong with the plugin? All the posts are Amazon affiliate products. Well, I have no idea. My hunch is that, actually, let me ask you this. Are you getting sales? Is it worthwhile? Because if you're not getting sales, even if they're real visitors, it doesn't really matter. All right. So if you're not getting the results that you want, then it doesn't really matter. Oh, and Adrian says, that's awesome. You read that in the 4-Hour Work Week. You want to do that as well. Which part is that? I don't remember what I was saying there. And actually, I do have an interview with my VA where she was rereading the 4-Hour Work Week. And then we talked about it for about an hour. And I share my dream line. And I think maybe she talks about hers a little bit. But anyway, it's a great, that is an interview coming up. And it's all 4-Hour Work Week. And it's very self-indulgent where Mackenzie and I just talk about ourselves. So. Adrian, I will wait to share the name of the service until I get a little bit of data from it. But I think it looks like it'll be okay. It was referred to me by a friend a while back. Hi, everyone. Says, how much do I pay a VA? It depends on what they're doing for me. So, anywhere from whatever, $5 to $50 an hour, depending on what they're doing, or more, right? I don't know who I'm going to hire as a developer, but I'll probably pay, decent money for a developer to make sure they're doing it right. All right. Dana says, thanks for the live stream. I hope you're doing more of these. Okay. An Able Blogger says you got no sales at all. So I would say ditch that plugin. All right. So if they're real visitors or not, they're not the visitors you want. All right. Last 2 questions for real this time. All right. Unbiased Review says, which app or extension do I recommend for using the time correctly? You know what? I don't know what that means. I just use my watch, my Fitbit here has a time on there, but I think you're probably asking for something else. And you have a few exact match domains. Do they work in SEO? Yeah, I think they can work. I wouldn't recommend it. How much do you pay for blog commenting? That would be in the $5 per hour range or less, although I don't do that currently. Okay, Munir Hussein. I'm going to call you out, my friend, because you seem a little rude. I'll answer your question, but I'm going to bust your balls here a little bit. Should I follow the KGR for informational articles as well? It's an urgent query. Please, Doug, do answer. Come on, Munir, you're better than that, my friend. There's no way this is urgent. That is one of the luxuries we have with this business model. Virtually nothing is urgent. Like, if I don't answer now, what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. The answer is you can use the KGR for anything you want, informational or product related or whatever. You can do whatever you want. It is totally up to you. As far as it being urgent, your time frames do not make like an urgent task for me. All right. So just want to, I mean, I'm on here, I'm answering questions, trying to be polite. And then you're telling me it's urgent for you, but it's not urgent for me. And it's really not even urgent for you, man. So it's laughable and it's funny. But yeah, you could use the KGR. It's totally fine. It's actually, I recommend it, Munir. You honed in onto a smart thing, right? If you use the KGR for informational posts, a lot of times those are going to rank faster. Those are going to rank better. All right. And I think, Marty says you use the KGR regularly for informational posts. And Marty says urgent equals not really urgent. Yeah. It's funny. And that's one of the cool parts when, I'm working with some of my VAs. I'm like, I put deadlines on stuff and like, that you need to have that kind of stuff in place. Otherwise it's hard to, get stuff when you want it and all that. So you got to have deadlines, but really it's super flexible because it's like all the pressure that, we're putting on ourselves for the site. It's like, oh, I really want to publish, 50 articles in, 50 days or whatever. But if you miss it, if let's say you hit 48 or whatever, it's not a failure. Like, or if you catch a cold or whatever, like it's okay. Like it's super flexible. So Munir, thanks for indulging me and letting me, give you a hard time there. But I thought it was funny that you said it was urgent because it's really not urgent, my friend. It's not urgent at all. Everyone can just relax a little bit. All right. And all right. Yeah. Thanks for all the support, everyone. Pastor says, shoot, I do info posts for no other reason than topic relevancy. If it's KGR, then great. If it has no search volume, great. Use them for interlinking. 100%. Yeah. DJ Marky Boy says, you just shared the KGR. I have just shared your KGR Google Doc. When will do you receive the other templates? I'm not 100% sure what you're getting what you're getting into there. If you signed up for the email list, DJ Marky Boy, good name, by the way, you will get an email, and there's a link in that first email that you get for downloads. All the templates are in there. And Munir says, you're so sorry if it seemed rude. You're not a native English speaker. That's why your expression was wrong. You're extremely sorry. I'm sorry too, Munir. You know what's happened here? I'm getting hungry for lunch. I didn't eat anything today. Doing a little fasting. I didn't even realize it. I just been drinking coffee like a monster. So when I saw it come through, I thought it was amusing. I thought it was a good time for me to unleash my, hunger. I mean, I'm just hungry right now, man. So yeah, nothing personal. That is the key thing that I've learned from doing this stuff. Nothing's personal. I can't take it personal. You shouldn't take it personal. So thanks for mentioning it. And I'm just gonna go through unbiased reviews. Should I go for a keyword when mostly forms in the top 10? Yes, do it. Any other questions? Adrian says, go eat. I'm getting grumpy. That's true. I'm getting grumpy. Richard, you are late, my friend. I'm out of here. I got to go, but there's a strong chance I'm going to be ramping these up and doing more of them early, like over the next couple weeks, like more than one per week, and more than one per week, most likely. And I may do some topics and not answer as many questions, and hopefully return back to the once a week segment there. So thanks, everyone. Richard, we'll catch you next time, and see you later.